this is 2008, right? So we're pitching an R-rated, hand-drawn, original animated feature. So all those things are against us. And so at a certain point, I go, well, I don't want to argue process. I just want to make this movie. And so we changed it to CG. And we actually did a test where we had a CG bull, you know, like an older design. And as soon as we started to model the balls, it's like, well, how many wrinkles do you want? And how many hairs? And what's the discoloration? And it became so real, it just became gross and not funny anymore. So every time, so you see the turnaround, and then you see this giant nutsack turned around in CG, and all the charm was gone. So we got to put it back to 2D, for sure.
Hey everybody, it's Jim of Animateducated, and I just got back from a screening of the new film called Fixed. And it's a very interesting film. It is a very adult film in nature. Do not let your kids go see this. It is on Netflix streaming, so be careful. It's pretty gross. It's pretty intense. It's pretty graphic. It's pretty real. There's a lot of goofy jokes, funny stuff, and then kind of some gross stuff. But the overall storyline is there about a mutt who has a friend that's a show dog, and there's his friends that help him along the way get through this whole fixed part of life. And and it's very rough around the edges, as some people have said. And but here's the Q&A, and you can judge for yourself. Again, there are some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, you might want to go see the film first and then watch this Q&A of Fixed.
Who was the pet that inspired Fixed? And was he a bad dog like that?
It was actually my friends, honestly, yeah. It was, I had 4 kind of best friends growing up in high school especially, and I thought, you know, they make me laugh like nothing else, and so I thought, how can I translate this dynamic and exaggerate it and put it into adult animated movie and see if it can work? And that was it was called Buds originally.
Did you write it as humans at one point, or
no,
was it always
they were always animated animals.
That's amazing. Yeah. And, you know, I will say, Hollywood sometimes turns their nose up at the idea of a quote-unquote talking dog movie, right? But I do want to set this record straight that we all give voices to our pets, right? That's not something that just is, you know, something foreign to.
I do it for sure. I've got 3 dogs, and like we just got a new dog last year, and it took me a couple of months to find her voice. Like, what does she sound like? And like my son would do it, and I go, no, that's wrong. We got to do it like this more. And then you do. You definitely. They each have individual voices.
Now, do you give voices to your other dog's testicles, or was that strictly for the movie?
Only if they're really big, and before we cut them off.
Only when he's stoned.
But everyone else on the cast here, is this something that you do? Do you give your pets voices? Is that
Okay, you're asking me if so I have a dog. You're asking me if I like voice his actions, like in a different voice,
and what he might sound like too.
I honestly don't. I think that's insane. You guys are out of your mind.
Wow.
No, I mean, like, I talk insanely to him. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a good boy. Oh yeah. But like, I talk in that voice, like dumb guy voice, I think.
Yeah. Dogs. For some reason, dogs respond to that though. They love the dumb guy voice that you throw on. Yeah, for sure.
They really respond to it.
And speaking of, how do you get into the mind of a dog? So you're writing this. You know, it's based on your friends, right? But are you researching? There's so many perfect specifics throughout the movie that you had to at least try to look through the eyes of a dog at some point.
No, for sure. Every walk that I take the dogs on, you start to think about, you know, and like I've had the runny poop pickup, you know, and it's gross. I've run out of bags when the dog shits 4 times on the walk, and so yeah, it becomes part of it. And why are they smelling? You know, like, stop smelling, just fucking do your thing. Sorry. And I guess I don't have to apologize.
Please, let's keep this PG.
Right, this isn't Hotel Transylvania. Okay, I'm saying. And so, yeah, so you start to, all the dog behavior. Like, we had a big joke that I couldn't get to work right was, you know, dogs barking at each other. Right, and I was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you for like 10 minutes. Yeah. And I feel like it didn't go anywhere, so I cut it out. But yeah, so you think about it daily. Even now, when I take the dogs out, I'm like, what's the sequel? And watching them intently.
Yeah, it's find new material.
And then, Adam, how do you get in the mind of a dog? Where did Bull come from?
Well, I think I was doing a different voice maybe the very first session, and you were like, essentially, no, you are perfectly cast as a dog that wants to hump everything. So, so I just used my regular voice. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm just a dog.
Dirty
I'm
dog.
a dirty dog.
So real easy to get into. And all of these characters are somewhat of dirty dogs. They at least have an edge to them. What was the joke in the script that you couldn't believe made it to the screen? Is there anything that you wrote and you were just like, they're never going to let me do this, but you've got to set the line somewhere?
I mean, for sure, the whole climax sequence,
Yes.
right? That whole bit was always like somebody would like the script and they go, well, we got to take this sequence out. And then I realized, no, that's the sequence that makes the whole movie. If you don't understand this sequence and why it belongs, then it's no point.
Wow.
You know? And then in partly the whole movie was like, are we actually going to get away with this?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and then the end came. And
Oh, yes, let's talk about the ending, the bear, right? Yes. This, not originally in the script, right? But you had to end with a bang.
Yeah. And so, and basically, we were doing test screenings, and actually, like, our test screenings played great, but they scored terrible. And so, before we had that scene, so the guys from New Line, who do R-rated comedies, so they're experienced, they go, maybe we need them with a big laugh. Right, because what they would do, they would put bloopers at the end of the movie, and the bloopers would get bigger laughs than the movie,
Sure.
and then they would get better scores. And so they go, we need one more sequence with a big laugh, and then I was thinking about it. Well, you know, maybe it's the ladies' turn,
Yeah.
and try to come up with the freakiest thing that I could come up with. And I always felt, I don't know, maybe it's too much, but I don't know. If
Was it
people
too
liked
much?
No.
No.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so you're pushing the boundaries. You're trying to do something very original. Do you set a line for yourself? Is there something where you're like, okay, this is where we're going to push it, or was it always just about trying to find what was best for the story? Because that climax, obviously.
Yeah, it was just organically, like my sensibility is softer, and so I knew that I wouldn't let myself push it too far.
Yeah.
Right, so, and we're gonna draw it nice and animate it nice, and it's gonna be within my taste zone. There's nothing in the movie where I'm like, ew, why did I do that?
Sure.
It's all to my sensibility. But we are, I didn't let myself off though. We could have gone, like, every butthole could have been wrinkly and disgusting, but we chose the
Chose beautiful.
Perfect,
Yeah.
beautiful buttholes.
bleached.
Yeah.
I read this, so I have to bring it up. After your first screening, there's apparently a very serious discussion about the dog's buttholes and the detail on them. What was that issue? How'd you resolve it?
So that was our first act storyboard screening, the very first time anybody saw it, and it was executives and some of the crew, and we watched it. And as I was boarding the first act, for the most part, it was there, right, and you couldn't hide it. And I didn't analyze, well, how much are we really going to show, and when should we not show? And then we finished, and the first comment was like, "Wow, there's so much buttholes and balls." And then we had like a 30-minute intellectual discussion about is it enough? Is it too much? Are we okay? Like, what are we doing exactly? Because the Sony executives are from Family Entertainment. Right? So it's like Emoji Movie and then this. And then the New Line guys are trying to push all the way. And
Yeah.
so it was like finding a balance.
So this is the happy medium. These are the buttholes. They're not a compromise.
We stayed, but then moving forward, like if it's not necessary, I try to not show it.
Sure.
Right.
We definitely pulled some out,
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
But that was a regular everyday conversation, like how many, ball shots do we have? How many buttholes? It was just, that was all in a day's work.
Did somebody count?
We haven't.
Okay. Because somebody's gonna have to count all the
Someone's
profanities
gonna
in
have
this,
to.
because I know that I'm sure that it's near a record of how many times the
Yes,
F word.
it
Yeah.
is.
And actually, it was something Idris started doing in the record sessions. He added a lot more fucks than we had in the script.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had the balls to tell him, can you not say that?
All the balls were on screen.
No.
River, I want to ask you about Frankie the Doberman. We love how Frankie encourages other dogs to embrace their gender fluidity and, you know, express their true self. Was that something that was always on the page for Frankie? Is that something you could bring to the character?
Yeah, that was always on the page. And I mean, Genndy just made a script that like seamlessly, in some radical way, included a conversation around gender and like acceptance. And I was lucky enough to just, my agent was just like, you want to do this? I was like, fuck yeah. I grew up on Dexter's Laboratory, and so I just, it was really cool to just blend all my sensibilities as the artist I am now, as an activist, and just, you know, to lend myself to Frankie.
And it was your first voice acting performance,
Yes,
right?
was.
Yeah. So what was that process like, going into the booth for the first time? And
It was
finding-
amazing because
Yeah.
me and Bobby recorded together. And so our scenes where we're like, making love, we were doing that.
You were making those noises, I'm
Oh
assuming?
yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. At a distance, you know.
Yeah.
But that's one of the amazing reactions, is that in a number of screenings, people clap. When they're reunited again, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful moment. The movie has balls, it has heart too, you know? It's really lovely. Beck, we dug through your IMDb profile. We realized you have voiced a duck, a buffalo, a hamster, and now a dog.
Wow.
Why do you think your voice pairs so well with the animal kingdom? And is there an animal that, you know, represents Beck the man?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah, let's go deep.
That's because I'm a fucking animal myself. I'm crazy. I guess my voice is like, it's not, it's a little uninhibited or something. It's a little rough around the edges, so it's an animal kind of voice. That's my answer that I'm given.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, I don't know. All those animals have unique personalities and have, you know, human traits that, you know, I bring to it. That's the answer. What was the second part of the
It was,
question?
what's the animal that best represents Beck the man?
I'm gonna say a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a dog.
I'm not a duck. I'm not a hamster. Not a buffalo. No, definitely a dog.
A little dirty dog.
A little dirty
Yeah.
dog. That's right.
It's pretty funny because
Nasty dog.
when he first walked in, he was like, all right, what kind of asshole do you want me to be?
Got a whole spectrum of assholes I can be.
Where is this asshole on that spectrum? What is there?
I would say the most pampered, the most like, the most sort of like sensitive and like rich, wealthy, groomed, that sort of thing. Yeah, most dog-like.
The highbrow.
Yeah, I always heard in my head the country club guy from Trading Places.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like that type of dude.
Sing a country club.
Adam, we also dug through your IMDb page, and we found a 2005 episode from Animal Planet, Who Gets the Dog?
Oh, that classic?
Yeah. It was you and another Netflix favorite, Happy Gilmore 2, director Kyle Newacek.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was able to track down the episode, and you guys...
Really?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Somebody put it up with all the commercials as well. So
Very
you want to take a little trip back in time?
Yeah, we were like, I think we were 19 or 20, and we just wanted to be on TV. And we were roommates, and we got an offer. I guess we seeked out the offer to be on Animal Planet's Who Gets the Dog, and where we compete to win just a dog that you can go to an animal shelter and just get. But we're competing for its love. And they take it to 3 different houses, and whoever the dog loves the most. So it's just, I'm on all fours at one point, like howling at the moon. And I was like, my God, my parents are gonna be so proud. I'm gonna make it. And my parents are actually here. They're here right now. There's my mom, my dad.
What do the parents think?
Shit, my mom touched my knee and said, I'm so proud of you. When she saw my nuts talking to myself.
That's great.
Hey, thanks for bringing up Who Gets the Dog.
I was just looking through. I was like digging through for Adam and Dog, and just trying to look, and then this popped up, and
Nailed it.
yeah. I can send you the link if you want to trip back in time.
No. I can find it on my own.
Sure. He's not finding it. Okay.
No, everybody's gonna Google that as soon as they get home.
Those YouTube numbers are gonna spike.
Tens of views.
Yeah.
Michelle, in your iconic producing career, you produced all of the Hotel Transylvania films with Genndy. What did you learn in making animation for children that you had to unlearn for fixed? And what really crosses over between the two? Are there, easy skills that you can apply to this?
Well, I would say animation, the animation is the animation, and I feel like this is similar to the animation that we normally do. However, it's 2D, which was, for me, something new and different. And I really enjoyed that. With regard to family versus adult, we're still looking for laughs. We're still looking for great performances. So we just got to say, shit, fuck, asshole, We got to curse a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise,
Absolutely.
we're telling stories about characters that we love.
Yeah.
And, hopefully having a sweetness to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Genndy, you've gone back and forth between the two, working in animation for children, working in adult animation. What do you find, what is similar about those two that you can apply those skills always that, you've learned in one and bring to the other?
Well, it's like Michelle was saying, filmmaking's filmmaking. The big difference is for kids, we always had to make things very black and white, right? So you kind of have to say the message in a way. When I started doing adult stuff, I was like, oh, well, the audience can make up their own mind and they can figure it out on their own. So we would leave a lot of more things gray,
Interesting.
right? And so it became much more sophisticated, for lack of a better word, that you can watch something and go like, oh, they could be saying this and they could be saying that, and it's all right, And I really enjoyed that because we don't have to hit everything over the head, and especially when you're making family entertainment. They're like, they're not going to understand. You got to make it clear. You got to make it clear. And we're always fighting back. Like, people aren't stupid. They can understand things. And, we're telling a story, and they can feel it, And so you have to have some trust of the audience. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, for me, nothing is worse than starting the movie and goes, hey, I am this character, and my father doesn't love me, but by the end, he's going to love me. And that's it. And then I turn off. I'm done. I know what the movie is.
Yeah, right. But I don't know. If the testicles had said that at some point in the film, I think I probably would have been on board, because two of my favorite characters in the film. And I gotta ask, at what point did those become characters? Did you decide, like, we're gonna personify Bull's balls and have them talk to him?
Yes. Yeah, and it was kind of hard because it was actually very difficult to find out, what's funny. Are the names going to be funny? All that kind of stuff. And it's surprisingly, it doesn't get a big laugh. I think the whole pot scene is something that I thought would always get a good laugh. And I don't know, something maybe I missed there, but it always a couple of giggles here and there, or maybe it's something that's expected. But yeah, it's always kind of like, all right, something's missing there. I'm not sure what it is, just to be honest. I failed. But
Still at this point, you're still critiquing the film. This is so fascinating.
This is why comedy is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and sometimes you have a joke that you really like and you show it and nobody laughs, and you're like, well, you either give up on it or you still keep working on it and figuring it out, and the next test screening you have a big laugh. You're like, oh my god, I figured it out, and that feels great. And other times, like, yeah, I'm not getting this. I'm going to change the joke.
Is there a joke you can think of that you honed over that process that you're really happy where it did land?
For this movie, I'm trying to think. I feel like, no, for this movie, everything was coming in right. Like the squirrel, we had the right energy.
That was another controversial scene, though.
That was, yeah. That's when the execs saw that, they were like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
What about when you killed the dog, when the dog got hit by the car?
Oh, another one. Well,
I love that scene. That's Psycho?
That's funny.
That's the best story ever. 'Cause
Yeah.
So you have the purse, we call it the purse dog joke, right?
Yeah.
And so the purse gets a laugh, the dog gets a laugh, and then after the screening, the execs are like, oh my god, the purse dog, you gotta put the purse dog in. And we're like,
Like, yes, to be part of the pack.
Yeah, it's a one-off joke. I don't want to have this fucking dog through the whole movie with them, And so they're like, come on, you got to do it. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And then I found a way. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kill him. I can guarantee that dog is not coming back. And they were like, you asshole. But it got such a huge laugh that I was like, good note, thank you.
I also do want to talk about the animation because, you know, this classic hand-drawn style. Why was that important to the story, and what were the challenges to bring that to life?
I mean, it was initially, you know, this is 2008, right? So we're pitching an R-rated, hand-drawn, original animated feature. So all those things are against us. And so at a certain point, I go, well, I don't want to argue process. I just want to make this movie. And so we changed it to CG. And we actually did a test where we had a CG bull, you know, like an older design. And as soon as we started to model the balls, it's like, well, how many wrinkles do you want? And how many hairs? And what's the discoloration? And it became so real, it just became gross and not funny anymore. Yeah.
It
So
took
every
the
time,
charm away.
you see the turnaround, and then you see this giant nutsack turned around in CG, and all the charm was gone. So we got to put it back to 2D for sure.
That's incredible. And I mean, the amount of, you know, just squishing and stretching and everything that you can get from a 2D animation.
I just felt bad for whoever is in charge of the hair dynamics on the testicles. The wrinkly sliders.
Yeah.
All the people who know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about that. Yeah.
And I know you're a huge fan of classic cartoons, and you know they inspire so much of your work. What are the classic cartoons that you look to for this?
I mean, mainly it's Tex Avery without the big kind of takes, right? And then, you know, Warner Brothers, of course, Bugs Bunny, you know, Chuck Jones, Bob Clampett, those are the main ones.
Yeah. Did the cast? Did you look to old cartoons as far as voice casting, or just kind of getting in the spirit, or they're just favorites from childhood?
Well, I would say some of the favorites of mine were, you know, Ren and Stimpy, and obviously old Looney Tunes, and, you know, Beavis and Butthead. And I just loved all the nastier the cartoons, the better, the more I liked it.
Yeah, I loved Ren and Stimpy and Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
Love Rock.
Love Rocco's, yeah. And then I'll go back and look at Ren and Stimpy and be like, I can't believe I liked that as a kid. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's scary.
So scary.
Yeah. There was a big fight at my home over the farting Ren and Stimpy dolls that you
Yeah.
could buy for the one Christmas. A grandma got them for me, and they were taken away. And
Grandma.
it was very much. The reason I'm funny at all is her.
I love that.
She thought farts were funny. River, how about you? Where are your favorite cartoons?
I loved Hey Arnold because I'm a
Yeah.
sad girl. And it's like, you know, it gets into like existential questions. Rocco's, Our Real Monsters.
Yeah.
That was a great one, you know.
So we were all Nick kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
Well, but we do share a big one in common. Popeye is
Yes.
one of my favorites of all time, and I know you have loved Popeye and wanted to bring him to the screen for some years, right?
Yeah. Let's not go there.
Okay, yeah. We're just big
Nobody
Popeye
cares.
fans.
Painful.
Michelle, how about you? As far as classic cartoons, where do you
I mean, I'm
keep
a
returning to?
Flintstones person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I'm a little old school that way.
That's awesome. Do we want to open up to the audience for a few questions? Yes, right down in front.
Hi, this was a blast. I actually went to one of your test screenings, and that was really cool. Ran into you after.
Did you score well on it?
I thought so, yeah. So, you know, I do have a question for you. So, you know, in terms of working on an R-rated feature compared to, like, you know, Ego Trip and, like, you know, some of like your past works, like, did you feel like there was like a lot of freedom here in terms of like what you've been wanting to do for like a long time to kind of experiment like with your comedy?
For sure, yeah. I think for this movie, they kind of left me alone and kind of trusted me to do what I do, because it's kind of out of their zone to a degree. And so there was trust. There was still doubt and fear and constant testing. And is this good? Is this funny? You should make this more funny and all this stuff. And yeah, but it's kind of like it just kind of flowed out, you know, because I think I've had it for such a long time. And I knew it didn't need anything fancy, right? It just needed the right setups for the jokes and the comedy and the animation. It didn't need fancy cinema, and none of those things. It just needs really clear staging and storytelling.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Right down here in the end.
Like, I think this goes for everybody, but like, when it comes to your taste, when do you know that like you have something that works or that's correct, or like you have somebody you go to?
It's usually if my gut feels right, I get this fuzzy, warm feeling. When I do like a drawing that works or a sequence, when I pitch it back to myself, and then I have people that I really trust. Michelle's one of them, definitely. I'll send her something, and if she, it's funny because it kind of goes back to my mom. I remember I was in art school and I brought back a painting, and she's like, "Yeah, it's not so good." And I was like, "You're my mother! Like, how can you say that?" But I have a couple of people on the crew that I send things to, and then after that point, like really not the executives. I don't trust them as much, and then it would be the test audiences. Then I can feel it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say Genndy has a great gut and can really feel if something's going to work. It's just some tweaks sometimes that we have to do.
I mean, it's gotten me this far, basically.
And if it's not, you'll tell him that it's nice.
Fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have actually come out and said no.
Anything
But it's
specifically
rare.
on this one?
Very
that's-
rare.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's funny because I thought the dog getting run over, the purse dog getting run over, I was like, oh no, we can't do that. But then I grew to love it.
Any other questions? Yeah, right
Yeah, what I really loved about this film is your off-model key poses. It was just moving. And what was the driving through? Was it the boards? Was it your key animators? Because it was just posed. It's never the same.
Yeah. Well, we treated it, before I knew I was getting really good animators, we treated it like a TV production.
Right.
So we're going to do character layout to make sure it's foolproof. So it was myself, Stephen DeStefano, Craig Kelman, and Joe Mosier and Adam Polonian who did all the layouts. So you've got like a superstar crew doing the layouts, and each person draws a little differently.
Right.
Right? So that's kind of what guided it. Then all of a sudden, we've got these A-list animators, and surprisingly, they love the layouts. So they like literally follow them and just animate them like we've never seen before. And it made the animation go so much faster because we had no thumbnail phase.
No.
Like when you think about a normal feature, you'll get thumbnails and pitch those and blah, blah, blah. And so we were firing through scenes so quickly because they're good and the poses were great and everybody was really in sync
Yeah,
doing
because
it.
I know you had David Feast up there and storyboards.
Yeah, he did a little few boards for us, yeah.
Yeah, but those are stud artists you had.
They're the best.
The best.
All right, one last question in the back here.
Thank you so much. When this is a big hit later this week on Netflix, what would you like to see next? A Fix 2 or return back to something like Stand By on the Titan?
No, I think, look, the dream and the fantasy is that this opens the door, right? So it's either another Fixed, another adult, I have this big action thing I want to do that's more dramatic and adult. And so basically give us a little more freedom in what we can do in animation, So that's the dream. I don't know if it's going to be, that's a tall, I'm not putting the pressure on Fix to bring 2D back, you know what I mean? Like it's a miracle this thing is here. But, ideally that's the goal. That they go, okay, Genndy, what's next?
Yeah, and original, yeah.
And original, yeah.
Nah, we're bringing it back.
These dirty dogs are bringing it
Back
back.
together.
I will end on this one. If you were to have an operation like Bull, what would you do with your last night? Is it the Kool-Aid toilet? Is it the doggy brothel? Where are you going? Is that bear stripper?
I would have joined in on the orgy, and I'm like, I can't believe they're pussies. I can't believe they didn't join in.
That was a pretty messy orgy. Not the clean orgies I'm looking at.
Yeah, the ones that are safe
Difference
for
between
mom.
house dogs
Yeah.
and street dogs.
I don't know. I feel like Bull did it right for me, and I'd probably follow in his exact footsteps.
Good. Perfect. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you to Netflix.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that Q&A all about Fixed. And I'd be really curious to find out what you thought about this film. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was gross and disgusting? Or did you think, oh, yeah, that's quite normal? Yeah, I see that all the time. If you enjoyed this in any way, you can press that button right there to subscribe, or you can take a look at other Q&A things I have below. I've got interviews and all sorts of things. Or you can take a look at these two right here you might be interested in, and we'll see you next time on Animated Educated.